Right. I'm going to do this video to talk about areas of Lightwave's interface that could definitely be improved. I love Lightwave. I've been using it forever, it feels like. But there's a few annoyances. I mean, I've obviously been recently, with the uncertainty of Lightwave, I started exploring other 3D applications, and they all have their good points and their bad points. There's no kind of 3D app out there which is like one app to rule them all. But I think it's worth talking about areas I think Lightwave could be improved, because I think that Lightwave has got some very strong bones, but it's got a few annoyances and a few things that are obviously not great. And some of them are really small things and maybe might not even be horrendous fixes, because they're probably considered low priority. But I think a lot of the small details are weirdly sort of things people start to notice. I think if you're a developer, you don't really notice it so much, or if you're a user, sometimes you use it for years, you're just used to it because that's the way it's always been. But I'm trying to look at it with fresh eyes. There's definitely some stuff which I think kind of noticeably, I think, looks weird compared to other apps and kind of bad. So here's this. This is the latest version of Lightwave 2024.1, and I've just installed it. And I just thought this is an example. So this is the. I'm only going to talk about user interface stuff here. I'm not going to talk anything bigger. It's just pure little details. Now, obviously, one obvious thing that Lightwave has, which is a really, really annoying thing, is that so many of the windows are not resizable. So, here's the effects panel. It's not resizable, so you can't change the size of it in any way. It won't let you resize, unlike, say, some of the other things, interfaces in Lightwave, like the graph editor and things, which you can do it. But this one, no, you cannot change it. It is literally fixed. And that's annoying, but what's particularly annoying about it is you can see just like at the current default size it is, like the actual words on the tabs are massively cut off. So you got backdrop, fine, composite, legacy, vol, processing. I mean, it seems bizarre that you wouldn't have it large enough that you can actually sort of just see it without actually having to go through. No, it's not a big deal. It's not something that probably most users, you could get used to it, but it just feels a bit clunky and a bit broken. And speaking of sort of broken, this is obviously the case with many other things as well. I feel like I can't remember which other windows suffer this, but there are a few others as well. Surface editor. Surface editor. I think that is resizables. Oh, and that's interestingly enough. Surface editor resizes smoothly. This brings me to the other point, which is the graph editor. Now, graph editor is resizable, but unlike some of the others, when you resize it, it looks okay. When you do this one though, it goes flickery craziness. So resizing it on this axis makes it really slow. The others are all smooth for some reason. So when you resize this window, it's fine. It doesn't crazy things. But this thing has some kind of weird redraw issue. So when you resize this, the whole thing flickers like crazy and just looks horrible. Now, it's not a real big problem. It doesn't really affect day-to-day use. It just looks a bit unprofessional. So that would be something I would love to see fixed. It's so small, but it's just, when you see it, it's just like, oh, that shouldn't happen. And that sort of maybe implies, and there probably are there may be other panels in like that have the same issue as well. Let's have a look. Does this one do it? No, it doesn't. That just lets me. Oh, this one doesn't actually update in real time. That's interesting. Okay, well, the surface editor, yeah, that's kind of annoying. You can resize the whole thing smoothly like that, but this, see, like, I think it's just because Lightwave has got so many random sort of bits and pieces bolted together, and the code isn't necessarily unified across the entire base of the UI system, that different like interfaces do different things and have different sort of things. It might be the redraw code is actually built into the UI window itself specifically. I mean, I know Lightwave's entire architecture is basically a very, very simple core with lots and lots of plugins built in on top, which is, very cool and very forward looking. But yeah, that's kind of nice. Surface editor, that should be live and resizable. One computer can handle it. What else have we got? Image editor. What can this one do? Can this be resized? Okay, this one can be resized, and it resizes smoothly. So check this. Oh, you can't resize that, but it's not really a problem because there's plenty of room. All the tabs have plenty of room. Of course, one thing, of course, that comes to mind though, the ability to resize just about everything would be useful, if only to accommodate, you know, user selectable or user choosable, definable fonts. If you change the fonts in this thing right now, I suspect you might end up breaking the UI. I know there's means of changing fonts in Lightwave. Yeah. Oh, a bit of a redraw glitch. It doesn't look like it's going a bit mad. That's fine though. I don't know if he's using OpenGL to redraw the actual windows there as well, but it's pretty, it works pretty well. But yeah, this is a fixed size, and again, I don't know also if other languages as well having longer words and stuff in these tabs might quickly break it, particularly if you can't resize this whole box wide at this side. So what else could we bring up? Let's go to an object and go properties and see what that is. Well, I've got a feeling, yeah. No, you can't. This is the same issue now. So basically, this window again cannot be resized at all, and that's, as I said, a lot of these things aren't a problem. Sometimes they are, but it's just, it feels like you should be able to resize that. I mean, in the long term, this is also a problem with Lightwave as well, is it's it has an entirely window-based UI pretty much. I mean, you've got like just all these separate floating windows, and in Lightwave I'm constantly opening and closing windows, and you quickly end up with a very sort of messy layout as well. I mean, you can obviously, it really helps having the second monitor, so you can move stuff off screen or move it onto the other monitor, but it's not ideal. And I think we could definitely do with having like a comprehensive reworking of it at some point, so that you can dock windows into like sliding tabs. I think at this stage, hopefully most of the patents on that have kind of expired, so hopefully that's no longer going to be a massive hindrance from a legal point of view. But having dockable tabbed windows would be incredibly useful, so you can maximize screen real estate. I know some people have done stuff that kind of emulates this using scripting, which is cool. I mean, obviously you could then have like workspaces set up, so you can like have different sorts of sets of windows set up for different tasks in Lightwave, like rigging or texturing or like final rendering or just animating. And then ultimately if we merge modeler in there with modeling as well. Probably that's about all I can really think of right now, but it is jolly irritating, all these weird quirky things. Maybe one day this will be fixed. I hope so. I really love the new team who are working on Lightwave. I think it's going to be very exciting to see where it goes. But I'd love to see the interface get a little bit more 2024, and just fix some of these annoyances. I mean, that effects window definitely is the most annoying one. That's ridiculous. But I seem to remember as well, if you go to object properties on anything, if I create a null and do it quickly, if I go object properties, yeah, this is actually I take it back. The effects panel isn't worst. This is the most annoying one by far. You can't resize it, and just look at, I mean, what are these tabs? I don't know. Without clicking on them, you have no idea what these different tabs are. That's insanely broken user interface paradigm going on there. So yeah, I hope this gets resizable soon so you can make it a bit bigger. Or, I mean, I don't know, have some kind of better overflow mechanism for tabs, so that maybe you have like a double row of tabs. It splits out to 2 rows or something. It has too many, so it sort of reflows. But yeah, right now you just have to go through and click, and it's just like, okay, it works, but it's, to be honest, anyone else coming from another 3D package would probably look at this and go, what the hell? And ultimately, that's the thing, Lightwave, in the long term, it's got to grow. I mean, we can't just live off the existing user base. It's got to try and get bigger. And I think, I think it's got every chance it could do that. There's lots of interesting, good things about Lightwave, and there's some great tools built into it. But oh god, I'd love to just get rid of some of these little surface frictions and annoyances. And that's all I'm going to say now. I think I'm going to leave the rest now, throw this into the court of public opinion and see what people think. Do you agree with me? Do you not? Do you think I'm an idiot? Anyway, that's it. Thank you.